We're on the line for Moto 2 at the 5th round of the AMA District 17 GP Series. You'll remember in Moto 1, it is hot, it is dusty, and we have a huge class. Let's see how this goes. Live engine start here for Moto 2, and we cannot see anything. There's a huge crash off to the right once again, so both motos there were crashes that took out multiple riders. Luckily this time we get around it and we're able to just continue on without very much issue, aside from, of course, not being able to see. So in Moto 1, I did not show the entire course layout, so this first lap here, we'll just do a continuous cut and walk through the track because today it was a very unique layout. As I said in the last video, the course is backwards, so the what we call the normal GP course is just completely reversed this time around. So it was actually an interesting change, and I kind of liked it. So off the start here, we're bottlenecked. I'm getting passed all over the place, just sitting. So big mistake there, but we're trying to keep calm, not get too worked up, and not go way too hard off the start, just because, again, it was extremely hot. I believe it was in the upper 90s, maybe even got up to 100 for the day. And I was sitting in the heat, well, even in the shade, when you're sitting in between motos, it was still extremely hot. So had to conserve energy on and off the track today, and we have 4 laps that we need to get through, so can't just give it all on the first lap or else it's not going to end well. So we go through scoring very early, so this first time we're going through scoring, it does not count for a lap. So we're just starting here, and then once we get past the finish line, now we're starting lap 1. And then we come into this section of woods, which is usually the end of a lap for most GPs, but today it is the start of the lap. I like this section a lot. It was, I don't know if I'd call it tight. It's just, it wasn't very fast. It was some technical sections and a lot of turning and a lot of braking bumps. The track broke down a lot in between motos, so it was a little technical here, which I ended up liking a lot. See the bike jumping around there just from the braking bumps. So right here, I make a pass. That section, the inside line was a lot faster. A lot of people were going on that outside line, that guy that I just made a pass. Unfortunately, I couldn't see his number, so not sure what his name was or is, but make a pass there. And then we come into a little bit more open section where we can open it up a little bit, give it a little bit of throttle here. And then we come to a very small grass track section. I think just because it was so dry, they avoided going on the grass track, which is appreciated because that could be a little dangerous with how dusty it is. We can even see the dust in the woods, which GoPros usually make it not easy to see dust. It doesn't do the dust justice, so when we can see it, in the GoPro footage, we know it was bad. I talked about it in the last video. I was going to the far left on the top of that hill there. I talked with a few people and ended up going on the line to the right, which is just a straight shoot to the downhill section, and I feel like that saved me a lot of time. We go through the tunnel there, which is very interesting and very cool. A guy fell down on the motocross track, and then the tunnel's there so we don't have to go on the motocross track backwards, and this is the only section where we go the, what I'll call the normal route. And then I just got past there on that straightaway as well. Moving to the GP uphill. This was really rough and really rooted, so usually getting up that hill it'd be like fourth gear pins. Felt like we were going down a gear, so going up that hill a little bit slower just because of how rough it was. Sounds like a few other riders had the same feedback, so it wasn't just me. And then of course we have the new layout to the back section of the track here. Moving to the closing sections of the lap. The tunnel that we went through to get onto the motocross track, we just went over that. And now we're back to the usual trail, just again going backwards. And then this section right here would usually be the first sections of a lap in the normal layout. And Joe in the 30 plus C class already getting around me, as well as a few other riders. So they're absolutely on the rails. I think that guy in the orange gear is second place in the 30 plus C class, so a good battle up front there. 30 plus C has been having some good battles in the front of the pack for the past few races, so I'll say again, they need to get a GoPro on themselves so we can see those battles in fruition, because for me, we can only see when they're passing us, so we only get a small glimpse of a potentially awesome race. So I think this is the guy that I made the pass on early on in the start of the lap. He passed me again when I was letting Joe and the other 30 plus C guy around. Coming into scoring here, so now this is the end of lap number 1, and we'll be moving on to lap number 2. And that was the course. That's the entire course layout. So again, a lot of fun. There's just some elements that made it really tricky that are just out of the track's control. Just, I don't know if we're in a drought or if we were in a drought, but it's just been weeks since this track has gotten any rain. So the hot weather, the dust made everything slippery, hard to see, and actually pretty technical GP race. So again, I don't know this guy's number. I could not see it. Not exactly sure who it was. Make a pass on a guy to the left there. There were a lot of DNFs in this moto. I think the heat just got to people. Maybe they were pushing too hard off the start and they just pulled off or couldn't finish. But a lot of people pulled over on the side and just not finishing the race. Going back to my original comment, gotta conserve your energy. So this guy who I passed, again not sure what his name is, he followed the line that I passed him, so he kind of learned from a pass I made. Once he passed me back, he started using that line, and I wasn't able to make another pass on him. Another guy off to the left there pulled over. Again, very difficult conditions, so it's hard to explain. I know looking at the footage here, it's probably like, oh, it's easy to finish a race. Why can't you just limp it on home? But this one was it was difficult. The conditions were definitely difficult. So this lap, I kind of fall apart here. A couple guys right in front of me, really dusty going to the uphill, and I get out of the main line in some really loose dirt and dust and completely lose my momentum getting up the hill. I was really nervous someone was going to just smack into me because of how slow I was going and how fast that uphill was. Luckily, these guys get around me, so this mistake cost me 2 positions here, which sucks, but I feel like that definitely could have been worse. I could have went down, and then getting up that hill would have been super hard. I would have had to turn around and try and get up it again. Now this mistake was a lot more costly. Guy goes down here, and I don't know what happened. I just lost my balance and tipped over. So one bike passes me here, trying to get myself unstuck, kind of out of the way. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I just lost 7 positions because of that small tip over. So that mistake there was a lot more frustrating. Those were my 2 main mistakes of the day, and it costed me a total of 9 positions. So that's the thing. It's better to keep your head up and not fall over or stall your bike, because in GPs everyone is so close together that 2 mistakes that were maybe a little bit more minor and were only a couple of seconds of me not on the bike costed me 9 positions. So now finishing up the second lap here, moving to lap number 3, we're following behind Kyle Bliss. Kyle's beaten me the past few races, so I beat him in Moto 1, and for the 2 motos, they combine the 2 positions that you have, and then whoever has the lowest points or combined score gets first, and second lowest is second, and so on. So I think I beat Kyle by 4 positions in Moto 1, so he needs to beat me by at least 4 positions in Moto 2 in order to get a better score than me and to beat me. So that's something I kept in mind. Again, I didn't want to use a ton of energy trying to chase him down. He is just a little bit faster than me, especially in the second motos, but I was trying to keep an eye on him, so I would keep him in a distance where I could see him on the motocross track and see how many positions he made up, and then do what I needed to do from there. But he stayed just ahead of me. There is this guy, his name's Sam White, in between Kyle and myself. So chasing down Sam here towards the final stages of the third lap. So Sam pulls over for me, lets me around, I thank him, and now we're coming to the last little section of lap number 3, and we could see another guy off to the left there that was pulled over, coming back to just difficult conditions for the race. So we come through, finish up lap number 3, and now the white flag is out, so we're on the last lap. Kyle gaps me by a little bit, not a ton, but he is the next position ahead of me. I'm starting to get exhausted at this point, just really dehydrated, really tired, and just don't have a lot left in the tank. So really, this last lap, I was just trying to limp it home. Got a little bit of feedback the past few videos about letting the clutch out and using the engine braking on downhills. I tried doing that uh, in this race. I think I was just in too high of a gear, so it just made things really sketchy, and I was a little nervous of stalling my bike on the downhills from braking as well. So I think I just need to shift down a gear on the downhills in order to take full effect of that and not cause myself arm pump by pulling in the clutch. So not much interesting happens here on the final lap. So we do end up limping it home. We finish the race. And in Moto 2, I got 18th out of 31. So 3 positions worse than Moto 1. But with all the DNFs that people had, I ended up getting 13th out of 31 for the day. So that's a really solid finish, in my opinion. Top half of the class. I'm really happy with that result, and it gives me some encouragement also knowing that there were some mistakes that could have been avoided, or there are some passes that could have been made that could have made that result even better. So we're taking steps in the right direction, and hopefully, as the year progresses on here and we come to the fall portion of the season, we can really put some good finishes together. So I hope you enjoyed this race video, and I will see you all in the next episode.